For over a century, the dream was simple. Work hard, buy the house, raise your kids in peace. But for a surprising number of Americans, the dream is no longer a driveway and a dinner table. It's a passport and a plan. Not everyone is leaving in a blaze of anger. Many are leaving with spreadsheets, side-by-side budgets, and a calm decision. The life they want might be waiting somewhere else. Costs keep nibbling away at paychecks. Medical bills loom larger than the illness, and small daily worries have grown into a permanent soundtrack. The twist? For some, moving isn't running away. It's leveling up. Open your banking app after a grocery run, and you can feel your shoulders tense. Food-at-home prices have kept creeping up year over year, and the totals don't feel like a story on TV. They feel like a tax on breakfast. Federal data shows grocery prices rose again over the last year, with categories like meats, eggs, and non-alcoholic beverages pacing the increases. People say the same thing in different words. I'm earning more, but I'm keeping less. And when you stack that against prices abroad, the gap gets louder. On broad cost of living measures, the U.S. is dramatically more expensive than nearby options. For example, total living costs, including rent, are far higher in the U.S. than in Mexico, and significantly higher than in Costa Rica. That's why so many spreadsheets now have a second tab labeled "If We Moved." But the grocery aisle is only the first pinch point. The real shock often hits when you get sick. America spends more on health care than any peer country, both per person and as a share of its entire economy. In 2023, total national health spending hit roughly $4.9 trillion, about 17.6% of GDP, and per capita spending topped $14,500. Even OECD snapshots show the U.S. far above comparable nations, more than $12,000 per person in recent editions, with a GDP share near or above 16%. Those numbers aren't trivia. They shape daily choices. Surveys consistently show a sizable share of adults delay or skip care because of cost. That means headaches turn into emergencies, and routine checkups become maybe next month. In other words, in the U.S., you can feel worse walking out of a hospital because of the invoice, not the illness. It's one reason expat forums overflow with stories about paying out-of-pocket abroad for a fraction of U.S. prices, and why some retirees choose visas that let them buy into public systems overseas. None of that is a silver bullet, and quality varies. But the idea that healthcare shouldn't require a calculator is powerful. And even if you can afford it, another question keeps parents awake. You shouldn't have to rehearse emergency drills with your kids just to get them through a regular weekday. Yet fear has become part of the background noise for many families. Global indices tracking peace and safety show a worrying slide for North America in recent years, with the 2024 Global Peace Index recording the largest regional deterioration across its measures, and 2025 analysis still pointing to declines from the late 2000s peak. No index captures every nuance, and nowhere in the world is perfectly safe. But when you catch yourself teaching duck if you hear a bang instead of look both ways, you start asking different questions about home. And for those who do go abroad, they quickly learn that leaving physically isn't the same as leaving legally. The U.S. is unusual. Citizens are taxed on worldwide income even when they live outside the country. On top of that, FATCA requires additional reporting for foreign assets, and foreign banks with U.S. clients must report to the IRS or face penalties. It's not just file and forget. Many expats file U.S. returns and foreign returns, track F-bar thresholds, and navigate Form 8938. Plenty of people still owe little or nothing after exclusions and credits, but the annual paperwork is real. Some, worn down by the admin grind, choose the nuclear option, renouncing citizenship. Public tallies show thousands a year do it. Analyses peg 2024 expatriations around 4,800 to 5,000, well below the 2020 spike, but still high by historic standards. Renunciation isn't a trend piece, it's a personal last resort. Most Americans abroad don't take that path. Increasingly, they don't need to. Here's the quiet revolution. You can keep your U.S. job and move your life. Since the pandemic, remote work has settled at roughly a quarter of paid days in the U.S., sometimes higher depending on the study and time frame. At the same time, dozens of countries rolled out digital nomad or remote work visas. Italy launched one in 2024. Spain and the UAE rank among the most attractive destinations by visa indexes. Depending on how you count, 45 to 70-plus countries offer some pathway for remote workers. Put those together, and you get a new equation. Keep your salary, lower your burn rate, and buy back time. Counting Americans abroad is messy. No global turnstiles. The State Department has long cited an estimate around 9 million U.S. citizens overseas. Advocacy groups like ARO put the figure closer to 5 to 6 million and emphasize how hard it is to measure. Either way, we're talking about a population the size of a major U.S. city that has quietly scattered across the map. Profiles vary. Remote professionals who can work from anywhere. Retirees who trade property taxes and premiums for warmer weather and public clinics. Parents who choose smaller cities with calmer streets and predictable commutes. Case in point, retirement and lifestyle guides regularly highlight Mexico and Costa Rica for substantially lower housing and living costs than comparable U.S. metros, plus straightforward residency routes. None of this is plug and play. You still need to vet schools, understand local insurance, and plan your tax posture carefully. But for many households, the math, the mood, and the meaning of home all point in the same direction. Here's the through line. The cost squeeze makes daily life feel tight. Healthcare anxiety turns simple symptoms into financial riddles. Safety stress eats at your focus. Add in an administrative leash that stretches across borders, and you start to ask if the life you want is actually somewhere else. Meanwhile, technology and visa policy have cracked open a door that used to be shut. So the question isn't, is America finished? It's more personal. What kind of life are you optimizing for? Some will stay and fight for better schools, safer streets, and fairer bills. They should. Others will design a different life abroad and keep their careers. And a small number will close the loop entirely and cut the legal cord. If you could keep your income, cut your monthly burn, see a doctor without a knot in your stomach, and walk home with your shoulders down, would you take that trade? Or would you stay and push to make those same wins possible where you already live? Either way, the American dream isn't a zip code anymore. It's a blueprint you draft yourself.